Good evening. You're watching the 7 o'clock English news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sends cable of greetings to His Excellency the President of the Ireland on his country's National Day. The Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus developments takes more precautionary measures. A number of world countries implement severe precautionary measures as the novel coronavirus pandemic spreads. And as oil prices decline, the budget of the ministry's governmental, military and security units decreased by 5%. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Michael Daniel Hodgins of the Ireland on his country's National Day. The Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus developments, COVID-19, held its second meeting under the chairmanship of His Excellency Sayyid Hamoud bin Faisal Al Busaidi, Minister of the Interior, with the attendance of the Excellencies, the members. It approved a number of decisions as follows. 1. To stop the entry of non-Omanis into the Sultan's territories from all land, sea and air borders, except for the nationals of the Gulf Cooperation Council GCC countries. 2. Quarantine shall apply to all persons arriving in the Sultanate from various land, sea and air borders, including Omanis. 3. To close all public gardens and parks. 4. Stop Friday prayers. And 5. Stop social gatherings such as weddings and solace occasions. These decisions will be implemented as of tomorrow, Tuesday, 17th March 2020. During the meeting, the committee commended the cooperation of all citizens and residents in introducing prevention and precautionary measures to combat the infection. The committee reviewed the latest developments of the virus, its worldwide spread, and the local impact. It also called on everyone to commit to the preventive instructions at the individual and collective levels. The Ministry of Endowments and Religious Affairs called upon imams and preachers to adhere to the decision of the Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus developments to stop the Friday prayers. The ministry announced that the decision to stop performing the Jummah prayers comes within the teachings of the righteous al-Sharia. The Sultan suspended classes in educational institutions for 1 month so as to keep students away from gathering areas that may contribute in the spread of coronavirus. Meanwhile, self and electronic education is considered the best way for the students to take lessons in their relative measures during this period. It's worth mentioning that the official channels of the Public Authority for Radio and Television, in cooperation with the Ministry of Education, will broadcast live lessons for students, as the social media platforms can also be beneficial in this regard. In the upcoming period, all shall adhere to the guidelines provided by the Supreme Committee of dealing with coronavirus so as to keep the beloved country safe. The Minister of Higher Education called the Omani students studying abroad to take the precautionary measures against COVID-19. The Minister indicated in case the studies process shifted to a platform, the students can continue studying whether in the foreign country or in the Sultanate, with the necessity to prepare the studies tools for this purpose. The Minister also called on the students to end all procedures related to the universities, accommodations and other personal commitments before leaving the country. It was urged the students to take advice from Sultan's cultural attaches in those countries, as well as the universities, to clear the travel procedures and should obtain written permission before leaving that country. The Board of Sultan's Armed Forces Museum announced that the museum will be closed for the tourists starting from tomorrow, Tuesday, until further notice. The Office of His Majesty the Sultan for Cultural Affairs also announced that all the land of frankincense sites and listed in the World Heritage List will be closed from Tuesday until further notice. The sites include Al-Balid Archaeological Park, Museum of the Land of Frankincense, Sam Haram Archaeological Park, and Wubar Archaeological Park in the Governorate of Dhofar, in addition to Salut Archaeological Site in the Wilaya of Bahla. This comes within the recommendations of the Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus developments and to reduce the spread of this pandemic. Within the current situation witnessed by the world and the resultant of the spread of COVID-19 and the possible increase in the demand of some products in the local market, the Competition Protection and Monopoly Prevention Center stressed on the necessity to apply the provisions of competing or competition protection and monopoly prevention law that will contribute in preventing negative practices. The center also pointed out that it is currently coordinating with bodies concerned to take necessary procedures in case of violation of the provisions. With the continuous decrease of the oil prices and its impact on the general budget, the Ministry of Finance announced to reduce the budget of the ministries, governments, military and security units by 5% for the year 2020. The ministry also called on all governmental units to reorder the spending priorities without requesting for any new provisions from the general budget. It also stated to continue implementing procedures mentioned in the financial publications related to reducing the public expenditure and enhance the revenue. It's worth mentioning that the Oman oil prices May delivery amounted to $31.38 per barrel, with a difference of around $27 of the price approved in the general budget, which is $58 per barrel. The Ministry of Technology and Communications signed a memorandum of cooperation with Bank Dhofar to manage and operate the Innovation Lab at the SAS Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution affiliated to the ministry. A number of specialized training courses in the application of artificial intelligence, smart cities, blockchain and other modern technologies will be implemented, as well as providing guidance and consultations to the students and startup Omani companies in various fields of information technology and communications.
أبناء عمان الأوفياء، لقد عرف العالم عمان عبر تاريخها العريق والمشرف كيانا حضاريا فاعلا ومؤثرا في نماء المنطقة وازدهارها واستتباب الأمن والسلام فيها، تتناوب الأجيال على إعلاء رؤيتها وتحرص على أن تظل رسالة عمان للسلام تجوب العالم حاملة إرثا عظيما وغايات سامية.
A number of world countries implemented severe precautionary measures as the novel coronavirus pandemic spreads and infected cases and deaths increase. Those measures include sanitization, quarantine, closing public facilities, and border checks. More in the following report.
Madrid woke up to a calm morning and nearly empty streets today, the first work day of the national lockdown over the coronavirus crisis. People are only allowed to leave their home to go work, the pharmacy, hospitals, or supermarkets. Spain has the fifth highest number of coronavirus cases in the world, behind China, Italy, Iran, and South Korea. The government's official coronavirus death toll rose to 288 yesterday, with 7,753 confirmed cases of infection. Schools across the country are closed, keeping millions of children at home, while army specialists in protective suits spray disinfectant in train stations. Germany started border checks with Austria, France and Switzerland today to try and stop the spread of the coronavirus, and said travelers with non-urgent business would be refused entry. In the southern town of Kehl, across the River Rhine and the French city of Strasbourg, German officials inquired with drivers why they wanted to enter the country. German Federal Border Police spokesman said if travelers could not provide sound reasons, the people will be sent back to France. All but the most determined skiers left alpine ski resorts yesterday as lifts shut across France, Switzerland and Austria, in line with new government measures to limit the transmission of coronavirus measures in Europe. Switzerland, at the center, what is now the biggest hub of coronavirus transmission in Europe, ordered the closure of ski lifts and gondolas, among other measures. On the French side, in the resort of La Clossas, tourists were also disappointed to have to stay at the bottom of the slopes. Many decided to shorten their stay in the ski mountain resort. Beijing officials had previously announced that all recent arrivals from South Korea, Japan, Iran and Italy would be forced to undergo a 14-day quarantine as of March 3, but the current regulations extend to all recent arrivals. Aside from a few travelers and staff in protective suits, Beijing Capital Airport remained largely empty this afternoon. Mainland China reported an overall drop in new coronavirus infections, but major cities such as Beijing and Shanghai continued to wrestle with cases involving infected travelers arriving from abroad. The policy of community quarantine took effect in Metro Manila, capital of Philippines, to contain the spread of novel coronavirus disease COVID-19. In the city of Pasig in Metro Manila, all people living there are required to show their valid certificates and proof materials, such as employment certificates. In addition to checking documents, the checkpoints in the city are also staffed by Health Ministry personnel to check body temperature for passers-by and passengers on long-distance coaches. In Sri Lanka, thousands of buses operated by both the government and the private sector are being sanitized today following the increase of coronavirus-infected cases. Sri Lanka government declared today as a holiday to carry out sanitization operation nationwide to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The country's health authority announced 7 new cases, taking the total number to 18, while 133 suspected cases are still under medical observation. The country has banned travelers from Europe, Italy, Iran and South Korea, while Sri Lankans arriving from those countries are required to be in quarantine.
This is the Sultan of Oman television. Before tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq sends cable of greetings to His Excellency the President of Ireland on his country's National Day. The Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus developments takes more precautionary measures. A number of world countries implement severe precautionary measures as the novel coronavirus pandemic spreads. And as oil prices decline, the budget of the ministries, governmental, military and security units decreased by 5%. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here in the newsroom in the studios, good night.